Okay, so some crazy stuff is going on right now. Section 230, they want to repeal Section 230 in exchange for approving the $2,000 stimulus checks. Now, you may not qualify for the $2,000 stimulus checks. That's fine if your household income's over a certain level. However, if you are a user of social media or you run a business and you market your business online on any social media platform or search engine, that's Google, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, you definitely want to watch this video and hit the subscribe button for this video because we're going to keep giving you real-time updates that can have massive impacts on your day-to-day life and your business, okay, as all this stuff is happening under our feet. So let's go through three things in this video. First of all, Section 230 repeal, which is really big. I'm going to explain what that is, what it means for a consumer, and what it means for a business owner. Okay. And what to expect, because it's going to change the game if this happens, even if a middle ground is met. Okay. And it isn't fully repealed, it's going to have big impacts. Next, I'm going to talk about how this impacts data privacy. Okay. Are there going to be any impacts with data privacy right now? Okay. Some very big tech companies are going through antitrust lawsuits. Okay. They're getting basically, the government is looking into them for being monopolies. Okay, so I'll explain what that means for you, either as a business owner or as an individual, and then the general social media and search engine impact as a result of this stuff. Again, let's start with this first thing. The $2,000 stimulus checks right now, Mitch McConnell is almost making it like required that the House of Representatives and the Senate, okay, would repeal Section 230 in exchange for approving the $2,000 stimulus checks. So let's talk about what the heck that means. So I'm going to dummy proof this for you. Google, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Amazon, these are sites we use every day. Okay. Now, the key to the success of these 5 websites is user-generated content. Okay. And because what that means, users post the content on either Google, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, etc. Okay, Amazon. Well, what is Section 230? Well, it's this rule that basically is an insurance policy for these big tech companies like Facebook, for example, that they're not responsible if someone posts something on their website that was either unethical, inaccurate, etc. Okay. They aren't responsible. Why do they call this the most important rule ever set, Section 230, in the tech revolution? Well, it's because it allowed Facebook, Google, and these other companies to scale quickly through user-generated content, meaning they didn't have to pay attention to what every single Facebook post said or Instagram post said, okay? So by repealing Section 230, what that means is now Facebook, Instagram, Google, YouTube, Twitter, Amazon, these websites would be liable for what's actually posted on the site. So again, if you are a consumer or you're a business owner, this is vital information for you, okay? And most of us who tune into this channel are both, okay? This is vital for you to understand. So let's talk about what you do in response to this, okay? So let's follow this path. Of the user-generated content, okay, these companies control 90% of the global information marketplace. So let me explain this. Google, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, etc., Amazon. Well, they control that. People can post tons of stuff on Google, YouTube, Instagram, okay, Facebook, but ultimately Facebook, Google, etc., these companies control what gets seen by people through the news feed and through the algorithms that basically show whatever shows up first on the first page of Google, right? So Google and Facebook is controlling basically the information that 90% of the public gets. So that's also a problem. That is a threat to our democracy and to free will in some ways, people say, because you can't control what your news feed shows you. You also can't control what you see on the first page of Google. Who's to say it's skewed or not skewed or objective? Okay. So that is an example of the gray line of data privacy right now, right? Is what piece of that do you control? Okay. So with the repealing of Section 230, here's how it would play out. Okay. If this was somewhat repealed or repealed, okay, What that would mean is that the tech companies would be liable for what people post on their websites, okay? Meaning they would be in freaking lawsuits like every single week. Tons of lawsuits. What happens? Well, when they're in tons of lawsuits, this is one theory, right? When they're in tons of lawsuits, they're spending tons of money defending themselves in court. The quality of the technology diminishes, right? Because they're spending so much money on court, and they stop developing their technology because they're distracted in court. So basically, Section 230 made it so that the big tech companies didn't have to take responsibility, so they didn't have to spend time in court, which would slow down the development of the software of the websites, right? Google, Facebook, YouTube. So what happens if Section 230 gets repealed? That means that they're going to have to watch every single freaking post that gets put on their channel, right? So that they can cover their butt, right? So that's going to slow down user-generated content, okay? And there's going to be more of a quality content movement, okay? And having credibility behind the content that you post, okay, is going to be more and more important online if you want people to see it, okay? Now, let's talk about the next step, okay? How do we make it objective so that the results that Google shows us on the first page of Google and the news feed that we see on Facebook is objective, it's within our control, right? Well, that's a whole different story. That means they're going to pretty much have to like remove certain things that you are obviously interested in. So then you're going to start seeing a news feed or results on Google that are less relevant to your interests, right? Or you're going to have to actually start seeking out or pre-selecting in a dropdown, pre-selecting your interests like you do on some websites, right? News-based websites. And then because you've selected these things, they're probably, you know, if this would happen, they would probably have everyone on Facebook would probably have like a form where they'd have to fill out all the things they're interested in and certain things about them, and then agree that, hey, our advertisers can target me based on these things, right? It's really the only way to go against that. Now, Google and tons of other websites have already went through cleanups on stuff like this because they were getting the wrong people to show up on Google. For example, 2 examples, drug and alcohol rehab facilities, payday loan companies. Both of these types of people who were showing advertisements on Google and YouTube and Facebook, their ads got completely taken down at one point. Okay. I think payday loans are still down, but I know drug and alcohol rehab, they now have a very strict vetting process. Okay. So that may happen to like everything online. Okay. So be ready for that. Now, let's talk about data privacy very quickly. Okay. Because Google, YouTube, Facebook, et cetera, since these companies are going through right now an antitrust lawsuit, meaning they are being investigated for being monopolies, which is expected. What's happening is now that there is an investigation started, Google and Facebook are going through a process of like tying up loose ends in their targeting processes. So this is why we made another video on why the pixel may die in 2021, because a pixel is essentially something that tracks where you go online, tracks every website you've been to previously, and then you get triggered ads, you get shown ads based on where you've been previously, right? So if Section 230 causes a data privacy movement, well, what's that going to look like? Well, less ability to retarget, meaning you can't follow people around with your advertisements online. And then secondly, well, there's really 3 things. Secondly is more keyword targeting. Okay. So more keyword targeting would mean, keyword targeting is what they do on Google. You type something in, then you see an ad. That isn't really biased, right? It's like, I need this. I want to see an ad on this, right? So we're expecting to see an increased importance on targeting your advertisements by keyword. And if you're a consumer, expect this. And then last but not least is first party data targeting, right? Meaning like the way that you would be targeted via ads would be if you were on someone's email list, right? Or if you're a business owner, you would have an email list and you could upload that right into Facebook, Google, et cetera, and then target the people who are on your email list since they've opted in for your stuff. Okay. So again, digital marketing impact, social media impact here. Facebook and Google will likely be removing targeting features, which makes first-party data more important, like your email list. Okay. It makes it a little harder for you to target your ideal clients in some ways. Okay. However, if you focus more on keyword targeting, it can be better. And then two things, like these are the two biggest points. By the way, subscribe to this YouTube channel for more real-time stuff like this so you can, rapidly pivot your business. Two things that every business owner and individual, if you're looking to market yourself, needs to be focused on. Okay. Branding and delivering on your promises. Very simple. Okay. If there is going to be more fact checking before YouTube lets you post a video or before Facebook lets you post something, well, why don't you just deliver on your promises? If you're going to promise someone an explanation video on YouTube about a certain topic, deliver on the promise. Okay. You'll probably be okay. Don't gyp people. All that these rules are doing is trying to like create honesty in the market. That's it, which is the most sustainable resource. Okay. Second thing, like I said, is branding is key. If you don't have a brand built up for yourself, like now's the time to build a brand so that you don't depend on Facebook, you don't depend on Instagram, Google, YouTube, Twitter, Amazon. If you have a brand is branded in the minds of your market. Okay. So now's the time to build a brand more than ever. So again, my name's Bill Hauser, CEO of the SMB team. SMB team, we do digital marketing for law firms nationwide. And in that process, we've learned so much about how to market your business, market your services online, and actually grow your business. And funny enough, since we do it for lawyers, which is one of the most competitive niches on the internet, through this YouTube channel, we're starting to open the hood on concepts and principles that anybody could use, contractors, dentists, chiropractors, et cetera, because they always say, if you can do it in legal, if you can do it for a law firm, you can do it for anyone, because legal is one of the most competitive niches. So if you're looking to grow your business, brand yourself, and make more impact and money, really, subscribe to this YouTube channel for next level topics. And I promise I'm going to keep delivering these fast moving topics to you so you can put them into immediate action. I'll see you in the next video. And hey, make sure you stay great. See you later.